Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Leanna and today we're taking a journey back to my old listings and we're going to critique them, we're going to make fun of them, and we're going to laugh because honestly, I don't know how I sold anything back in the day. But we're going to take a bit of a journey with how I started, what I tried and what worked, what didn't work, how I sort of evolved into having the listings that I have now, which are much better. They're still not perfect because I don't think that sort of perfection really exists, really, but they're good for me. I like them now. I feel more proud of them now. We're not going to laugh at my listings now. We're going to laugh though. It's going to be fun. This came about because honestly, I think you really need to look at yourself first, no matter what it is. And there were a few postings in a couple of Facebook groups I belong to where somebody would bring in or post another person's listings that they thought were bad. They would be like, oh, look at this one. Isn't that funny? What about this and what about that? And people would be joining in, critiquing these listings where nobody had asked for their opinion. And I thought, you know what? I took a step back and went, that's wrong. That is really wrong. You need to look at yourself first. So I went back through my old listings, my sold listings, and went, oh my goodness. Wow. So this is what we're doing. Okay, be prepared because it's pretty funny. The first one I want to talk about is this listing. It is a Super Mario t-shirt, and as you can see, the lighting is horrible. I know that when I first began, I was taking photos downstairs in our basement with, I think, two lamps, two regular yellow bulb lamps in a sense, against a cream colored sheet in the background. So the lighting is horrible. The background is wrinkly as all get out. And the t-shirt itself wasn't even hung properly. I don't know. But also with this listing, I only took 3 photos. There was only 3 photos in the listing. That was it. The title and the description, which I'm going to show you, was very basic. There was nothing to tell you anything about this t-shirt. And I mean, basic t-shirts are kind of hard to describe, but I didn't have measurements. My size in the description just said L. It did not say large. And people are looking, I believe they're looking at the word large, not just L when they look for sizes. There was no measurements. The lighting was horrible. I don't know how it sold. Okay, really I don't. But the next one's going to prove to you that apparently anything sells. So the next one, yes, is a pair of Free People jeans. I don't know why I chose this cover photo. I don't know why, especially knowing that at the end of the listing, I had this photo. So I don't know why I chose the tag, the brand tag photo for the cover photo and not the nicer laid out one, except for the nicer laid out one was blurry. In fact, all of my pictures in this sort of section of my career were very blurry because I did not have a fantastic phone. I have a much better phone now and it takes clearer pictures, and that was my first sort of upgrade in my listings is I changed my phone and the pictures were much better. So in the Free People jeans, I should have had the cover photo that was at the bottom as the cover photo for sure. Again, I had a very basic title that had no size, no details about embroidery or no keywords at all. It was very basic. Now in my description, I did do measurements. So I did evolve and that was really good, but they were kind of buried. They weren't spaced out nicely. They were in the middle of 2 run-on sentences. So they kind of got lost within the description. I don't know. I do it differently now, as you will see. So the next 4 photos that I'm going to show you are my background evolutions, or different things that I've tried to see if my backgrounds could pop on Poshmark. So just so you know though, with all these 4 listings, again, there wasn't enough information in the titles, no keywords. It was basic information. The descriptions did have measurements, so I'm glad I kept that. The lighting still was not the best, but I was trying to figure out the lighting, as you will see. I did take a few more photos. I think it's 5, 4, 6, and 6, which is not like, I think at that time we got 12 photos, so maybe half the photos I used, which is not a great thing. Use as many photos as you possibly can. But let's see what I was using for backgrounds. The first one is a Lululemon Racerback tank, and it's against the fence in my old backyard. I kept hearing natural light, and at that point, being in the basement with no natural light, it made sense to me to go outside. So I did, and I photographed a whole bunch against my fence, and yeah, it was a red fence, and it was a little old, it was a little rickety, it was clean though, and the lighting was fine for the most part, but at that point, it was only getting good daylight between like 9 and 11 in the morning, and that was it. And I'm in Canada, and we would have had to deal with winter eventually, so I didn't want to continue doing it outside because I couldn't during the winter. I needed to figure out lighting for inside the house. So the next one, I think at that point I had bought an umbrella light to help with my lighting in the house. But the next one are these elephants. And I mean, they were really super cute elephants. I got them at a yard sale. Don't ask me why I remember that. I decided that I wanted something different in my background. So I got a scrap paper book, like the cardstock book, and I used 2 sheets to be in the background. Didn't really work. For me, it was too busy, and they're not really meant to be backgrounds, so I was going through them a lot because they would get dirty and they would get ripped and whatever. Now, just as an aside, I still buy scrapbook paper books like that. I cut them up and I use them as thank you cards because they're inexpensive, especially at the thrift stores, and they're pretty on one side and white on the other. So for me, they work really, really well. Anyway, moving on and moving upwards, maybe. These pair of red boots. These were super cute, and I remember the day I sold them because we were out and about in a different town thrifting, and they sold, and I was really, really happy about that. I use these faux wood foam pads that you get for your floor, and I put a whole bunch together, and I was using that as my backdrop on the floor or on the table. I would put 2 or 3 together, and I thought it looked okay, except for you can see in some pictures, you can see where they join. I tried. We still use these. They're actually downstairs by our shipping station because they give us nice sort of padding to stand on because we have a cement floor down there. But I was trying to find, because people were doing things on hardwood and it was looking really nice, and I thought, okay, let's see if I can do this. Didn't really work, but it was not bad. It was not horrible. The last one is probably one of my favorites because it is something I tried to upgrade. I tried to do something different, and I bought a backdrop from Amazon, and it was this neon brick. I still have it somewhere. I don't know why I have it still, but it's really cool looking. But it was way too busy, way too freaking busy and bright, and was taking away from the items. So yeah, it was sort of a hit and a miss kind of thing. I'm not mad that I tried it. I think this business is all about trying new things, but I don't know. This was also one of the first photos I took with my mannequin, which was another upgrade for me. My mannequin I bought, I think that first summer I was reselling, and so it's been 4 years, and she's just now kind of falling apart. She kind of tilts, and I can't quite fix her, so I have upgraded to a hanging sort of half one, but it was a really good investment, the mannequin. And the mannequin does help the clothes look like they're on a person, and I do think they help your sales a lot. Now, I tried all these things. The next one we're going to talk about is what I did for quite a while, and it's this little background where I had pictures and a little heart and just made it look like it was a little fancier. Again, I still think it's way too busy. I do prefer a white background or a plain background for my own personal taste. But I'm showing you this one because even though I thought the background was and the pictures were kind of blurry still and everything else, I did do 8 photos for this listing, which is great. And what else would I want? The title was better and the description was better, etc. I did add in, and I'm going to show you at the bottom there, it says all offers welcome. We've talked about that. I don't do that anymore. But the reason I bring this up is because this is a For Love or Lemons skirt, and it sold for $70. regardless of what anything said in the title or in the background, anything. It still sold because it was in demand. And you keep that in mind. If you have an item that's in demand, you still want to present it in the best possible way so that you can get the most money for it. But if it's in demand, it's going to sell, period. Okay. Whew. So far, so good, right? Have you guys finished laughing? Because, I don't know. I was laughing so hard at some of these photos and descriptions. I was shaking my head and just laughing. So, the next one. This one is really cool. So, the first one I'm going to show you is this floral torrid jumpsuit. Incredibly blurry. Really hard to photograph maxi dresses, long jumpsuits, things like that. Really hard to do so. But this is what I ended up with, which is not great whatsoever. But it did sell for $30. Compare that to this torrid jumpsuit, which I did use a stock photo for. Yep, I used to use stock photos, not a lot, but definitely once in a while, especially with stuff that I couldn't photograph well. So I did use stock photos in this listing. I had 7 of my own photos in this listing, but this only sold for $28. So I don't know about that. And I mean, I don't use stock photos. I use them very, very rarely. And if I do, they're like in the midst of my listing. They're never the cover photo. I don't think I have any cover photos that are stock photos anymore, unless it's a really old listing. And that's all I'm going to say about that, except for the really blurry jumpsuit sold for more, and they're from the same brand, same size, a little bit different. So I don't know. Is it worth the time and effort to go and look for stock photos? Yeah, maybe sometimes and maybe not sometimes. So anyway, I'm going to show you the next one really quickly just to show you that I did used to use emojis. I can't say that word. Emojis in my title once in a while, especially if I was doing a sale, because right now Poshmark does not have an easy way to do a sale, which it frustrates me. But it did still sell. It did not sell for the $28, I think that said, because it was part of a sale, but it did eventually sell. So yes, I understand the use of emojis in your titles if you are having a sale, for sure. I understand that. And I mean, there's ways that you can do it that, sort of minimize the number, how do I say this? Using an emoji in your title has a place sometimes, and it doesn't really take away from your title, like if you're running a sale. But if you're just putting emojis in there just to make it stand out, it doesn't work that way. So, my opinion. Okay, finally, we're going to get into a couple of the better photos and listings that I do now. So I sold this Pennington's New Tags top. Photos, nice clear, white background on my mannequin. I think this was actually on my hanging. Was it? It could have been on my plus size mannequin. That's my cover photo. And I do all the photos, all the sides. I do it hanging. I do all the measurements. In my title and in my description, if you look here, a lot more words there, a lot more keywords. I put in the title, it has the size, it has more details about the item, things that stand out. It has keywords upon keywords. And in the descriptions, I add more keywords and I say where to wear it. And it's more of a, hey, what do you think about this? It would look super cute like that. And I'm doing that a little bit more. I add measurements, but I make sure they're separate from everything else so they stand out. And I don't add in offers are welcome anymore whatsoever. So that's a huge improvement. And even though it's not perfect, it is 1,000 times better than what I used to do. The last one I'm going to show you is this Moschino. It was a vintage vest. And because the front photo didn't really show that it was Moschino, I decided to do a pic collage and do the back and the front. Yeah, I did that right. So that they knew the brand right off the bat. They could tell what it was and they could see. To me, it gave a really good visual, and I am doing that a little bit more now as well. I'm taking each item as it is and going, how can that stand out? What can I show the buyer that's going to make them want to click on that listing? I also used 16 photos in that listing. I am tending to use most of my photos I am using videos a lot more often as well, because that does draw the eye and it draws attraction to the listing, which will draw attention to your closet. So those are my, that is my evolution. That's what we're going to call it. And you know what? Yeah, I've improved a lot. And when you see listings on Poshmark or on eBay that may not be exactly perfect, always keep in mind that they could be newer sellers and are just trying things out and trying to find their way, which most people do eventually. Just remember that. Anyway, that is it for today. If you want, let me know down below in the comments what you thought of my original listings. That's okay. And tell me how you've improved over the last while that you've been reselling and how well your listings are now. Did that make sense? Yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. I hope everybody has a fantastic week. I'll see you later. Bye.